There was a lull in news coming from the normally prolific James Webb Space Telescope. Suddenly, Webb went offline. No, not offline, dark. All scheduled observations were canceled. All scheduled releases were pulled. And an internal announcement stated simply, "Do not ask what happened. Do not ask when it will end." Days passed. The usual flood of stunning images turned to a trickle. Then, slowly, one carefully worded press release emerged. Webb had experienced an anomaly. It needed to be realigned. Its instruments were compromised, and finally, it would require repair. At first, this looked like standard procedure. Webb is a masterpiece of engineering, but even masterpieces break. Its predecessor, the Hubble telescope, was famously repaired 5 times by spacewalking astronauts, but those missions were routine, expected. Webb's problems were different. Leaked memos indicate the instrument failure was not mechanical, electrical, or atmospheric. There was something apparently wrong with Webb itself, some external compromise that rendered its sensors unreliable. And if Webb is compromised, then so are we. Because right now, it's one of the only telescopes focused on three-eyed Atlas. As humanity, we thought we were watching an interstellar object. But what if it's been watching us too? If 3 Atlas is indeed a long-term observer, it's possible that it arrived with the sole purpose of observing Webb. Remember, we're dealing with technology that can cross interstellar distances. Time becomes irrelevant. What seems like coincidence could be design. In the grand scope of its journey, Webb is nothing more than a pit stop. What if it was disabled to limit our response? What if they don't want us looking back? On September 28, 2023, the first troubling image of 3 High Atlas was released to the public. The famous Pillars of Creation, one of the most iconic views in modern astronomy, is here replaced with a hazy blob. That's 3 Atlas. Most dismiss it as a technical glitch, but the timing is striking. Webb was put into safety mode. Then the image was released, showing precisely what it couldn't see. Could it be an intentional demonstration of its capabilities? The sudden shift from fully operational to deliberately blind has shocked some of the world's leading astronomers. While no official statement has explained the outage, one thing is clear: there is no solution that does not involve resetting the entire telescope. And that reset is scheduled to occur at the exact moment 3I Atlas reaches its closest approach to the Sun, meaning Webb will be blind when it passes between Earth and Mars, limiting observations. But some speculate that's by design. In the days since the outage, NASA has released images of 3-eyed Atlas that are breathtaking in their detail. It's not the sharpest image ever taken, but considering the distance, the resolution is staggering. Visible light images show a tiny smudge against the starlight. Infrared renders reveal more detail. Surface features are visible, and the mystery only grows. The latest images seem to show 3 distinct sections of the object, each roughly rectangular in shape. 2 large segments connected by a smaller section in the center. Some analysts have noted similarities to spacecraft designs, specifically to the Voyager probes. More disturbingly, the lines and angles appear to align with certain quasar structures. Quasars, those bright, enigmatic cores of distant galaxies that are powered by supermassive black holes. A recent study theorizes that quasars have hard edges because they are manufactured, that they serve as beacons and navigational markers throughout the universe. Are these coincidences? Does 3I Atlas bear witness to our own quasar-like origins? We may soon get answers. Within the next few days, 3I Atlas will reach its closest approach to Earth, passing between our planet and Mars. Astronomers are currently preparing for what could be the most historic moment in modern space exploration. Whether it's the next step in understanding the cosmos or the opening salvo of contact, the clock is ticking. On October 2023, the world will watch as a small dot in the sky makes its move. But what should they be looking for? Here are the telltale signs to watch for. Any evidence of solid construction, any sign of artificiality, is crucial. Look for hard edges, right angles, flat planes. Even slight variations in color could signify materials or manufacturing methods. Also, unusual gas emissions. While comets should emit gases that reflect their composition, any indication of unusual elements, especially synthetic ones, is significant. Artificial lights, either steady or blinking, though unlikely, would be monumental. Signals either beamed directly or encoded in emissions could offer further evidence. Lastly, physical changes like sudden brightness increases or alterations in shape warrant attention. These signs, while not definitive proof of artificiality when combined, form a compelling case. NASA has assembled a task force of top engineers, astrophysicists, and cryptographers. They're ready to sift through incoming data at a moment's notice. But what happens if they find what they're looking for? Here's what we know about the protocol for discovering artificial interstellar presence. The first rule is secrecy. Unless absolutely necessary, no confirmation of contact will be given. All evidence will be collected and analyzed. Next is containment. Independent astronomers will be quietly instructed to cease public discussion. Some will cooperate, others will go public anyway. After that, limited communication. Statements will be carefully worded to avoid confirmation or denial. Most of the world will be kept in the dark. Finally, containment protocols. Military assets will be placed on standby to intercept rogue signals or objects. Further instructions will be given as needed. But how will the world react? Considering the religious significance attributed to comets, the fear of divine judgment, or the promise of salvation, the impact on society could be profound. Confirmed contact might trigger widespread panic, riots, civil unrest. Conversely, some groups might welcome it as fulfillment of Scripture. Global leaders are said to have contingency plans, but nobody knows for sure. What's your interpretation of the available evidence? Do you think Three-Eye Atlas is simply a natural phenomenon, or is there something more sinister going on? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe for more updates on our latest videos. Thank you for watching. We appreciate your support and hope to see you again soon. The year 2022 is the year that our world turned upside down. It started off with the destruction of Afghanistan, the war in Ukraine, and, of course, the death of Queen Elizabeth II. But it also started with an astronomical event that many scientists hoped would change the world. On January 26th, a near-Earth asteroid named 3200 Phaethon was slated to pass so close to Earth that it could be observed with relative ease. For those who work in the field of planetary defense, it was a chance to test capabilities. For those who love space, it was a chance to see something amazing. But as predicted, the asteroid passed without incident. However, what they didn't know at the time was that a little over a month later, they would witness an object fall from the sky that was unlike anything they had ever seen before. While much of the world was unaware of it, 3 Eyeless approached Earth on February. For 4 months, scientists had been staring at a weird blip on their screen that looked like nothing more than a random piece of space junk. It appeared to be an asteroid, but one that was far too smooth and oddly shaped to be of natural origin. It was big, a massive boulder of metal 340 meters wide, enough to cause devastation if it hit the Earth. But its composition was strange, extremely dense and rich in heavy elements, not like any known asteroid. Its surface, however, was the strangest thing of all, strangely featureless, like a polished mirror, perfectly smooth and reflecting light in a way that baffled analysts. At first, they thought it was a chunk of a larger object that broke off and was knocked into space, like a rock tumbling away from a spaceship. But that didn't explain its perfect shape. Then they considered the possibility that it was a satellite, maybe one from a spy program that had failed or been abandoned. But again, the shiny surface didn't make sense. Was it a metallic object? If so, how did it stay so clean in space? What we did know was that this object, which we would eventually come to call 3I Atlas, was hurtling towards Earth at a speed of nearly 80 kilometers per second. And at first glance, we didn't have much to worry about. Its trajectory was taking it safely past the moon. But as days passed, the scientists realized that something was wrong. 3I Atlas was not slowing down. It wasn't burning up in the atmosphere like space junk usually does, and as it continued its strange descent, it became clear that we were witnessing something unprecedented, an object entering Earth's sphere of influence, staying intact and changing course right before our eyes. Now, normally, this would be a cause for celebration. A major discovery of an asteroid or comet is always exciting. But something about this object was different. The precision of its movement, the unnatural smoothness of its form, and the strangeness of its composition hinted at something beyond our understanding. This was no ordinary piece of space rock. The media was quick to jump on this, and in no time at all it seemed as though everyone was talking about it. People flocked to the Virtual Telescope Project website to get a glimpse for themselves. And even mainstream news outlets ran stories about the mysterious object. By the time it reached its closest point of approach on March, the world was holding its breath. What they saw that day shocked them. Instead of breaking apart, 3I Atlas stayed whole, passing within 200 miles of Earth's orbit. It then disappeared from view, and as it did, it left behind a question that no one could answer. What just happened? Was it a meteorite, a comet, an alien probe? No one knew. In the days that followed, we received some answers. NASA announced that 3I Atlas was neither meteoroid nor comet, but an object of interstellar origin. This was a big deal because it was the first time that we had definitively seen something that originated outside of our solar system. It was also a little unnerving because it implied that there was stuff out there that we didn't understand. But it soon became clear that 3I Atlas was more than just an interstellar visitor. Something about it was off, like it had been manufactured, like it was supposed to be there. Sure enough, as it drifted farther into our solar system, it began to behave erratically. Its orbit suddenly shifted, its rotation sped up, and it started sending signals that seemed almost too organized to be random. Then came the moment that made scientists sit up and take notice. As they analyzed the surface of 3I Atlas, they noticed something shocking. The surface had changed. It was covered in what appeared to be hieroglyphic markings, complex patterns that seemed almost too intricate to be natural. And then they realized that these weren't just patterns. They were messages, instructions encoded in the very structure of the object itself. The race was on to decipher them, and what they found was beyond anything they could have imagined. Now, while the experts were busy analyzing the data, other scientists were looking at the bigger picture. They tracked the path of 3I Atlas back to its origins, and what they found was nothing short of astounding. It hadn't come from beyond the solar system. It had come from inside. More specifically, it had entered our solar system through the Oort cloud, a region of space that surrounds the Sun and is home to trillions of icy bodies. The fact that 3I Atlas had managed to pass through the Oort cloud undetected was a shock in itself. But as they looked deeper, they realized that 3I Atlas wasn't alone. There were signs of other objects in the vicinity, objects that had moved in strange ways, objects that seemed to be watching us. As the days passed, the discoveries kept coming. Scientists began to suspect that 3I Atlas wasn't just an interstellar visitor. It was a scout, a harbinger of something greater. And the fact that it had entered our solar system undetected suggested that it wasn't just exploring, it was spying. The implications were staggering. If 3I Atlas was a spy, then it meant that there was intelligent life out there watching us, studying us, ready to strike at any moment. And then came the final, most terrifying discovery. As James Webb peered deep into space, it captured something that shouldn't have been there. A faint glow against the backdrop of distant stars. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was there. A second object, one that shouldn't exist. The implications were clear. Whatever 3-Eye Atlas was, it wasn't alone. There was another object out there, something that was watching us alongside it. Now, at this point, the truth became undeniable. This wasn't just a fluke. It wasn't just a chance occurrence. This was no accident. 3-Eye Atlas and its companion had come to our solar system intentionally. They had been sent, and they were here to observe us. The implications were profound. For centuries, humans had searched the skies wondering if they were alone. And now they had their answer. They were not. But the answer brought with it a host of new questions. Who sent them? What were they watching for? And why should we be afraid? As the world grappled with these questions, the scientists continued their work. They searched for answers in the depths of space and in the vastness of the cosmos. And slowly, piece by piece, they began to uncover the truth. Here's what we've learned so far. At least 2 objects are approaching our world, 3-Eyed Atlas and Echo 9, and they're coming fast. Atlas is estimated to be 2.7 kilometers wide and is currently about 40 million kilometers away. But it's accelerating. Echo 9, on the other hand, is smaller, about half a kilometer wide, and it's trailing behind by over a year. It's decelerating, which means it could be reaching us sooner than we think. At this point, you might be wondering what's so dangerous about these objects. After all, they're just rocks, right? Well, not exactly. These objects are rich in heavy elements, especially gold, platinum, and uranium. They're also highly dense, implying some kind of artificial composition. Their surfaces are smooth and shiny, as if polished, not like any natural object we've ever seen. And that's just the beginning. These objects have reacted to our observations, changing course and even beaming signals back at us. And as we watch, they're dancing around, not randomly, but in Fibonacci patterns. And as if that wasn't enough, they've been observed to warp space-time around them. But that's not all. Echo 9, the smaller of the 2 objects, is emitting a continuous high-pitched hum, a hum that is now drowning out the sounds of our own universe. Is it a weapon? Is it a probe? Is it a beacon? No one knows. But one thing is clear, we're not alone. And whatever's out there is watching us. So next time you look up in the night,